Future Tech Tokyo 2026. Welcome or welcome back to the Impact Stage. Yes, it's 4 p.m. right now, and I know a lot of you have been joining us from the morning, but I hope you have enough energy and curiosity left to stay with us till the end. The next session is actually the last session we have on this Impact Stage, and it is a very special one. The session is titled From Research to Impact, the Vision of University Spin-off Startups in Protecting, Creating, and Commercializing Knowledge in the Age of AI. Very intriguing title. So now please join me in welcoming our esteemed speakers with a round of applause. Yuka Tanimoto, Executive Director, Managing Editor, Web Editorial Team, Forbes Japan. Yutaka Matsuo, Professor, Department of Technology, Management for Innovation, Graduate School of Engineering, the University of Tokyo. Saskia Steinacker, Chief Product Officer, Springer Nature. Ken-Ichiro Natsume, Assistant Director General, World Intellectual Property Organization. And John Metzler, Continuing Lecturer, Berkeley Haas School of Business. Thank you very much for joining us. Everybody, please take your seats. Moderating this session will be Ms. Tanimoto, so I will hand it over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at SUSTEX Tokyo 2026. I'm Yuka Tanimoto from Forbes Japan. I'm very honored to be here and a part of this event. So we have an incredible group of panelists with today. So panelists, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. So this panel's title is The Vision of University Spin-off Startups in Protecting, Creating, and Commercializing Knowledge in the Age of AI. As you know, AI transformed our world. AI transformed everything, and we are at the critical turning point. So also, you know that with the arrival of advanced AI system, like Anthropic Cloud Mythos, our government are stepping in, and it is also a critical moment for private sector to reassess how it approaches and how utilize AI. So how can we transition to a sustainable, knowledge-driven society? And what vision should AI-driven startups pursue as they use this technology, AI? So these are the questions I'd like to ask to explore today. So this panel is hosted by 9JP, the National Innovation Network for Entrepreneur Japan, a nationwide network supporting university-based startups. At SUSTEC this year, 9JP has organized an AI-focused exhibition along with a pitch session yesterday and today. And on the other side, so if you don't see, so please, after this session, please go visit the booth. So today's discussion builds on that momentum. So our goal is think together about the future of startups in the AI era, particularly those emerging from university. So again, so today we have a wonderful panelist. So to begin, I would like to invite each of you to take about 4 or 5 minutes to briefly introduce yourself and share your thought of AI from your position. So Matsuo Sensei, please go first, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yutaka Matsuo. I'm a professor at the University of Tokyo. I've been working on AI for almost 3 decades. Currently, I serve as the chairperson of AI Strategy Council under the Cabinet Office in Japan. Okay. Let me introduce what we are doing in our lab. Well, this is somehow, yes, something goes wrong. But yeah, this is the number of the participants of our lecture on AI. So we are having increasing number of students every year. Last year, actually, we had more than 70,000 students from across Japan. So this shows how eager the students in Japan want to learn AI. And on top of that, currently we provide a large-scale AI education internationally. So we have more than 26,000 students from all over the world, including African countries, ASEAN countries, Latin American countries. So our education is expanding worldwide recently. And then we have many startups from our lab. As of now, we have 42 startups launched by the alumni or the graduate of our lab. And 2 of them went publicly traded, and 3 of them exited through M&A. And the total market cap combined exceeds $2 billion US. And I think there are many potentials of utilizing AI in Japan. The one promising direction is vertical AI, because the AI can be used for each industries, such as finance, medical, manufacturing, education, and so on and so forth. So integrating each industry with AI is a very promising direction. Another direction is physical AI. Of course, Japan is very strong at industrial robot and many robotics technologies. So we can integrate those hardware technologies with AI capabilities, and maybe we can make a very strong industry on physical AI. And this is the last slide. Because there are many discussions on AI, like whether we are having AI bubble or not, or what could be the society after AGI. So, but at the end of the day, we will have AGI sooner or later, which can do everything human can do, and the impact toward the society will be enormous. So, as a country, we have to utilize this AI capability to grow our economy, and also for the betterment of our society. Okay, that's it.
So Matsuo Sensei, thank you very much. So later, I'd like to hear in detail about physical AI and vertical AI, which is Japanese strength. So next, Ms. Saskia Steinacker, Chief Product Officer, Springer Nature. Please.
Thank you so much, and hello everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here at Sushi Tech, and I will absolutely try to stay within the 4 minutes, give it my best. So with that being said, I would like to share how artificial intelligence will actually, or is about, and is in the progress of reshaping scientific and research processes and scientific communication. Based on what we, and I talk here for Springer Nature, which is a global scientific publisher, observe across the global research ecosystem. So very much looking forward to share that in the next minutes with you. Now, my name is Saskia Steinacker, I'm the Chief Product Officer, and what you see here in front of you, that slide, is basically that for centuries, science has underpinned human progress and rational decision making. As Isaac Newton, and you see the quote here on the slide, wrote in 1675, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." So if you now think, what is the picture, what I'm seeing here on the slide? Well, the image shows what it looks like today. It maps the publication record of Nature. You might know the journal, very prestigious journal, our flagship journal, and each dot represents one of more than 88,000 articles published since the 1900. And the lines which you see here show 70 million citation links connecting them. So today they illustrate over 150 years of research across disciplines and the cumulative, collaborative nature of science. What has changed in recent years is the scale and the speed of the system. Research output is growing rapidly. So if you think about it, at Springer Nature alone, submissions increased by over 30% in a single year, reaching over 3 million manuscripts. And at the same time, expectations have shifted. So society looks to science to deliver insights faster, while maintaining the highest standards of reliability. In this environment, AI is now becoming part of the core infrastructure of research. In 2025, more than 1.5 million papers across Springer Nature were supported by AI-enabled tools. So think about this, the tool assist with discovery, with editorial assessment, with peer review workflows, and research integrity checks. And the need for support is clear if you put yourself in the shoes of the researcher. Only around half of our researchers, 50%, they have sufficient time for core research activities where they say, well, that's the fun part, right? Really doing the research. The majority and much of their time is absorbed by navigating information, managing processes, or addressing administrative complexities. So use responsible, also AI can help here. And you see here this on the slide, across the research cycle. For example, AI-supported literature overview, AI-assisted writing tools, and other examples. But importantly, and this is really, I want to stress that, and you will hear me say that several times today, the research itself remains human. So AI does not generate scientific insight, but it can help research to focus, basically, on their time and expertise on what matters most. Well, the same principles apply to editorial decision-making. AI can support editors and reviewers by identifying patterns, highlighting potential issues, or managing volume. But it cannot replace human judgment. Responsibility for decisions always rests with the people. No matter how much AI will penetrate research, the ecosystem, responsibility will rest with the humans. Trust in science depends on skilled researchers, editors, and reviewers who are able to interpret the AI-supported insights critically. This is why training, shared standards, and clear governance are of utmost importance. So I will close with 3 points. First, science must be trustworthy and timely to address today's global challenges. Protecting the integrity of the scientific record remains absolutely fundamental in the age of AI. Second, AI can support the school when it deployed responsibly. It can improve efficiency and scale, but accountability must remain with the humans. And finally, science has always advanced through collaboration. In the age of AI, continued progress really depends on the progress or cooperation between researchers, technologists, publishers, policymakers, and institutions. So that and the collaboration will bring us to the next step. With that being said, thank you so much. I'm very much looking forward here to the discussion across the panelists, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Saskia-san. So what stood out is how AI is now embedded across the entire research process. So please tell me more in the detail later. So next, Mr. Ken-Ichiro Natsume, Assistant Director General at the World Intellectual Property Organization. Natsume 先生、よろしくお願いします。
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, colleagues. I'm Ken Natsume from World Intellectual Property Organization. Probably that is not very much familiar to all the colleagues. It's about the United Nations organization in charge of intellectual property like patents, trademark, design, copyright, and so forth. Well, in terms of AI, I'd like to touch upon the copyright area because now you have seen the news where the companies of the creators are complaining about there is no compensation for the tech companies using their artwork for the training, no compensation, no permission is given. So that's one big issue, that there are many court cases. At the same time, there is also another question that is, how do we do with the output of the AI-generated or AI-assisted outputs from the generative AI, for example? In general, the answer is that copyright protects human creativity and authorship. So in that sense, I strongly resonate what you said because that it will not replace human. The creativity should be with the human being. That's at least, probably after AGI, we don't know. But probably at least at this stage, the human being has to be at the center of these creative and innovative activities. However, at United Nations, we have 194 member states. If you want to do something, there should be agreement among those people, which is not easy. And actually, the views from different countries are different. Typical example is that copyrightability of the AI-generated artwork. In the US, in principle, no matter how many prompts you put to the generative AI, the outcome, because it's generated by AI, which is kind of black box, is not considered as a expression of the creativity of the human being, because we don't know what's happening in the AI. So that's a general attitude, tendency to in the United States. However, in China, for example, there are already a couple of court cases where they confirm the copyrightability of the AI-generated outcome because the artist made efforts to input so many times, prompted so many times to get the final outcome of the artwork as the artist wanted. So this effort to put hundreds of prompts are considered as an expression of creation. So there are differences of the views. Then it's very difficult for the international organization to reach a consensus among those completely different views because it's kind of digital, 0 and 1. There's no 1.5. So it's, in a sense, premature from our viewpoint at this stage to work on something very much legalistic. However, we as an international organization cannot just sit back and relax. We have to do something. We have to start somewhere. That's why we are now thinking about new method or new way of discussion amongst multiple stakeholders. That is not only with the member states. It's more on the discussion about real copyright owners, real creators, real publishers on one side, who is not very much happier about at this time. On the other side, we have tech companies who want to use as much as information for training, if possible, of course, free of charge. So there should be somewhere where technical measures can, I wouldn't say solve, can provide you something where that is not a complete answer. That would be something where both of them can live with it. So they can live with it, but maybe not perfect. Everybody will be unhappy equally, but everybody will be kind of happy. So this is the exact purpose why we launched this AI infrastructure interchange. We call it AIII, or AIII for short. It's easier to say. So it's a completely neutral forum. We are international organization. It focuses on the very practical and operational aspects. So at this stage, we do not intend international rules, international standards, because it's so premature at this stage. Nobody knows what's going to happen in 3 years' time. And the outcome of this discussion should benefit all stakeholders, including you, including member states, including governments, and so forth. So how does it work? We will have experts from all over the world. That is about 100 experts. We call it Technical Exchange Network, or we call it TEN. Yes, we like abbreviation and acronyms. And we have the annual meeting where everybody can get together. That will take place in November this year. And in parallel, we will have some governmental colleagues. Of course, at the end of the day, we have to have an agreement by the member states, which is represented by the government. Then with that, we'll see where we can go. Maybe this will go to the international treaties, maybe not. But we have to start from somewhere. So this is where we are. And if you, as an expert, or as an, let's say, tech company, or as a creator, inventor, more than welcome to scan this, or you just type WIPO, AI, things like that, and it will guide you to our website. You are more welcome to subscribe our newsletters, and we will share all the information needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Natsume-san. So as Natsume-san mentioned, yes, we need for AI, we need a new method and a new role. Then, so we need to protect our knowledge. Yes. So finally, Metzler sensei, the continuing lecturer at Berkeley Harris School of Business. Metzler sensei, お願いします。
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. Thank you to 9JP for the invitation. And of course, thank you to the Tokyo Metropolitan Government for putting this forum together. This is my first time to Sushi Tech, so delighted to be here. I realize this panel is about research, but I want to pause for a second and talk about the role of universities. One of my duties is I'm an instructor. I teach undergrads, I teach MBAs, I teach on platform strategy, I teach on opportunity recognition. Both my courses count for our AI for Business Excellence certificate, which is new at our school starting last year. And I share that to say universities have a duty to help students prepare to be AI literate professionals. That's part of our mission. And I know there is a lot of faculty in the room. I suspect I'm not alone in saying I'm learning from my students on this journey, right? I have undergrads, I have MBAs, I have adult working professionals. They're already working with AI. They have to, right? So I'm learning with them on this journey because AI is already part of their professional lives. And so I first want to drive that message. AI generalized is an amplifier, and other technologies have played that role. The computer itself, going from mainframes to PCs, was an amplifier. The internet is and was an amplifier. And so in class, I talk about this. Software eats, which refers to things that can be done in digital, are being done digital. AI augments, right? That's not for good or for bad, it's an amplifier. And that's very true for researchers. So if you were a good researcher in the pre-AI era, you can be a great researcher. If you were a great researcher, you can be a superlative researcher. It is an amplifier in so many ways. Queries get faster response. Maybe you can do more research in parallel, which means the probability that you get an outcome goes up because you're just doing more, right? So that's an amplifier. And so the question is whether schools and publishers and verifiers are ready for that. And I'm glad to hear from our colleague at Springer that publishers at least seem to be ready to work with as part of that verification process. But it also means that data integrity and data provenance, so where the data come from, becomes very important. What data and what weight on what model, and so your comments about generative AI models, whether they're black box or open weight, is very important. Where did the data come from? Is it authentic? Is it spoofed? Is it injected? My background pre-teaching, I actually worked in GIS services, GPS augmentation. GPS is also an amplifier, but it's vulnerable to being spoofed, it's vulnerable to interference, it's vulnerable to being jammed. We see that right now in a variety of contexts around the world. So, thus, data about the data, meaning what we would call in GIS a figure of merit, which is basically a vote of confidence. Am I confident in the data or not becomes important. Data compartmentalization and data provenance become very important. And so in GIS and GPS, we would use confidence intervals. So 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation, 3 standard deviations, and then we would take a host of measurements and try and find the outcome we were most confident in. And I think that analogy applies to AI. We would also use the term reference station. The Japanese would be kijunten or kijunkyoku. That also applies to AI. What is ground truth, right? Who says and what is it and where are we relative to that? So I think that very much applies to AI. And so AI itself will probably have to monitor AI's output, and I'm glad to hear examples of that already. But in that case, whose AI is doing the monitoring, right? At what weights and by whom and who's checking it, right? And so as with cybersecurity, who's watching the watchman is sort of a motif that I have in mind. And so universities worldwide are going through this transition. It's not a Japan thing or a US thing, right? This is a worldwide phenomenon, and it will pull some things up, and some things that are elevated will go higher. But I think we all have to remember we have a mission to move society forward, right? Cal Berkeley is where I work. We have a very clear mission of socioeconomic mobility. That's what the university cares most about, is pulling people up. And so that's just fundamental to why we exist, right, in the state of California. And if AI can augment research, and that research benefits society, then AI is in alignment with our mission, right? We should be embracing it, because if that can help, then by all means. So it's in alignment with the fundamental university of the mission of the university to help educate and elevate. One of the questions we got in advance was an openness question, which I think is a really great question. Universities benefit when they attract the best and brightest from all over. If you're in my class, I don't care where you come from, you're in my class. What state, what country of origin. And so there's a real fundamental need to balance that mission of openness, bringing in the best of people, bringing them together and elevating them, with a mission of maybe potentially sensitive research, right? And if university is performing, say, classified research, data compartmentalization, secure facilities, those sorts of things become truly important to performing the work. So I'll stop there. All right.
Thank you very much. So now, we are moving into the discussion part. So as highlighted in today's title, I'd like to ask about the role of future of university-based startup in the age of AI. So how will university-based startup change in this new environment that using the AI? So, especially from the respected point of view, and also the, if possible, so please add the impression of the 9JP booth, except Matsuo sensei. Matsuo sensei just arrived here, and before this opening this session. So, okay, Saskia-san. So, please go first. So, how do you see, and how will university-based startup change in the new era?
So I think there are two aspects. If you think about universities, which are now really operating in an open science as well as AI-supported ecosystem, I think professors and also researchers in that environment need to need to have AI literacy. So that's one thing, of course. They need to know how the tools, but, and I think that's very important, you also need to have now integrity literacy. So what does that mean? Ultimately understanding how do you use these AI tools and how do you understand to use them in the correct way so that you do not, for example, amplify data which is not correct, that you have an understanding of how you need to handle data in AI tools, that you understand there can be hallucinations, So I think that's something which changed compared to the past, that it's next to the AI tools. You also now need to understand how to use them correctly to have the so-called integrity literacy. And for startups, I think that's something also, depending on what we just heard from my esteemed colleagues here, is if you are now a startup and you're operating in an environment and you want to offer your services, you need to make sure that you have to have credibility, that you have an understanding of how do you handle your data, data governance, how do you apply ethics, how do you, like in this AI ecosystem, because if you do not have proof that you understand how to run this for your startup and then to plug into the ecosystem so that your tool or software can be used, it's very difficult then to ultimately scale and become part of a trustworthy and overall collaborative environment. Yeah? So these are two things I would see for universities as well as startups. Thank you.
Thank you. So Natsume-san, so how should university-based startups protect and leverage their knowledge, and what are your sort of, and how will the university change in this era?
Thank you very much. I think usually universities and startups from the universities are, of course, that they are startups. They are not big companies, so that the asset is limited. So that's one thing which you have to be mindful, because you cannot do everything on your own. So you have to have the good cooperation, possible cooperation with the colleagues. And if you think about it, from my perspective, intellectual property organization, that if you think about intellectual property, probably for tech guys, you may think about patents, which is absolutely right. But at the same time, if you want to do your businesses, patent is not the only solution. Probably if you want to do the business, brand is very important, depending on the products. Design is also very important, and as I mentioned, that the copyright issues about, particularly in the context of AI, that's also very delicate. So those multifaceted intellectual property area is also very important. I fully understand for universities and startups, they are not very much fully fledged, staffed, so probably IP, intellectual property, is not at the top priorities. But if you have some cases about, for example, infringement, or if you wanted to protect your products or your idea, it could be too late. So you cannot start as early as possible. So you cannot start you can start today, not tomorrow, so that you can protect your own idea, so that you can keep your comparative advantage in your market. One final remarks from my side is that, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, sometimes copyright issues can be delicate, because it can be considered as a copyrighted work or not, depending on your market, not only in Japan, but also in the different countries, in the different market. You may have to think about different approach. So if you want to go abroad, if you want to be other countries than Japanese market, that's another thing which you might want to consider. Thank you very much.
Natsume-san, thank you very much. So I'd like to ask both of you, as people involved with university, Metzler-sensei, Matsuo-sensei. So Matsuo-sensei, so from your perspective as a forefront AI research, so what is your thought about the startups in age of AI? So what will change in this era?
Thank you for the question. I think the university-based AI startup will change the society a lot. As I talked earlier, we have many startups from our lab, but we would like to have more and more startups coming from our lab. Hopefully, we plan to have 100 startups annually, and because we have many, large companies, many industries in Japan that needs AI. So I would like to encourage students to make their own AI startups, and the AI startup would empower the Japanese traditional companies. And and then also I'm wondering, listening to your thoughts, what will happen in 5-10 years from now? Because it is only 3 years since we had ChatGPT, and in these 3 years, the things are completely changed. In our lab, recently, less and less students write their own program, and and they, put their idea to Gen AI, and make them code and get, result, and then make a revised idea. But recently even the idea can be generated. The new hypothesis can be generated, from the literature review. And if we can put just a vague, objective, vague, kind of purpose, then there could be many ideas to improve. So where, is our creativity? And this is, again, only 3 years after ChatGPT. So what would happen 5 years later, 10 years later from now? So yeah, that is, yeah.
That's a really good question. So how do you foresee the next 3 years or next 5 years? So anyone, so how do you forecast in terms of the AI, Metzler sensei?
So I want to kind of put some color to this point. I always upload my materials for my students, class materials and otherwise. I don't upload my own materials to most labs, but all my students, everything I've ever posted has gone up to Notebook LM, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Claude. Like everything I've ever thought of has been taught to the models already. And it's interesting and sobering at the same time to drive home your point. So it becomes, what is really proprietary to researchers or instructors in that area if everything that you actually publish and put down is being uploaded, right? So that's a really interesting question. At a high level, I want to back up a little bit, right? When it comes to startups and universities, at a high level of stakeholders, you have faculty researchers, you have research staff, you have postdocs, maybe student interns, maybe visiting scholars. There's a research environment, there's tooling, there's storage. There might be a technology licensing office if there's something that's patentable or fundable that comes out of it. All these existed pre-AI, right? Those were already there. What's different is the need for compute, right? So faculties and universities typically don't have the access to the same compute that frontier labs do. And this is a two-part challenge. It's a capital investment challenge, like where's the money to come from to invest in AI? It's also a retention challenge, which is to say, maybe it's one of Matsuo sensei's students or one of your students. Someone who writes a good paper that gets published in NeurIPS can go work for a hyperscaler tomorrow. So why stay? Right? And you're saying you want to have 100 AI startups, so maybe that's a positive outcome for you, right? Like if that student leaves and goes to work for Google, but you have to be mindful of that. And then the thing that keeps people in universities then is it has to be a meaningful work that isn't being done by the labs, or that's unique, or it's bespoke, or it's deeper. And so the question is then what are those topics? Berkeley, we talk about the balance of core research and translational research. Core research is the fundamentals that move us forward. Translational is how do we sort of make that accessible to society, and we really drive the point that those have to coexist. Right? Core research moves knowledge forward, translational research moves society forward, and those have to exist as a pair. And so we believe in that very firmly, like those have to coexist, and that helps us fulfill our mission of societal advancement. We're trying to do both. We just got our 74th Nobel, so that's maybe a measure of that, right? So, and I guess the other thing is, if more research gets done and the cost of query is going down, then the advantage maybe goes to those who have consistent access to compute. But it also might induce more people to do that work, right? If we can do more research, well, more people do work on their research. I guess the last point I'll make, it's a really interesting time, and this is a short-term answer to your question, to be working on unique data sets that the labs don't have access to, right? So if you're trying to figure out in a short-term basis, how do universities or researchers coexist? working on things that haven't made it into the frontier labs yet is maybe of a short-term bit of advice. And that gets to the defensibility question that I think Matsuo Sensei is alluding to, which is if you're kind of working with AI from the outset, what exactly is defensible about the research? You have to be very, very mindful of this. Like what is proprietary? So I'll stop there.
Thank you very much. So our time is nearing the end of this session, but I really want to ask a quick question to the Matsuo Sensei. So that kind of same question. So what do you see that happen in our next 3 years or 5 years as a forefront AI researcher? Could you tell us, so what's happened in next 3 years?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure what's happening in 5, 10 years, but at least, many things would change. And our, responsibility is to make that change the better one. And how to, make scientists, contribute to the society more with AI. How to, IP work for the society for good. So that is the, same, purpose, before and after, AI. So yeah, that is the mission of, this panel and everyone here. Yeah.
Matsuo Sensei, thank you very much. So, so we have just 2 or 3 minutes. So, listen to today's discussion. What struck me is that, yeah, of course, AI is not simply a tool for efficiency, but of course, it has the power to define the knowledge itself. So, and I believe the university-based startups, the stand at the forefront of this transformation. And I truly hope today's discussion has been helpful to you. And then, so finally, I'd like to invite the chair of 9JP to offer a closing remark. Watanabe Sensei, please come up on the stage.
Thank you. And my name is Toshiya Watanabe. I'm the chairman of 9JP. On behalf of 9JP, I'd like to express sincere the appreciation for all of the panelists, especially for Tanimoto-san, moderation of very organized, very exciting discussion. Thank you very much for your the contribution to the 9JP discussion. A little bit about, okay, so first important thing. Have you ever been to visited 9JP the exhibition showcases yet already? Okay, thank you very much. If you haven't visited yet, please visit after this session. And this the event, we have organized the 3 the one is exhibition, and the second is the pitch session, and the third is a panel discussion, focusing on AI. And today's discussion is very, very helpful and informative for us because that the integrity and also IP and also the AI. It is clear that the AI plays a very important role to produce startups from now on. But as a 9JP, we are going to organize several different the event from now on. Okay, so please show this is an upcoming calendar of 9JP. About the Bio Japan, the Bio International, and also the space event, the Space Week. We are also organizing a pitch session. And if you are interested in this, one of them, please visit our session. And we can discuss again, looking forward to visiting us. And so, no, so that doesn't work. See you again. And please visit our website, and updated information is there. Please keep attention to us. Thank you very much. Again, thank you very much for panelists and all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all of the, yes, the audience. And also thank you very much, the panelists. So please, big round of applause to our panelists. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for a great discussion. Another big round of applause to our speakers, please. Thank you. And with all the speakers, proceed to the connective stage for networking, please. Thank you very much. Thank you.